What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we are going to be taking a look at the Monsterarts Monster Hunter 20th Anniversary Furious Rajang. The angry monkey himself returns it gets introduced into the Monster Hunter line and comes to us in figure form. Now, Furious Rajang is a monster that is very notorious in the Monster Hunter community, and because of that, I have done a Monster Hunter World Let's Play. I'll link that in the description below. But what you'll see in this video is I might end up throwing in some clips from my hunt of Furious Rajang in my Monster Hunter World Let's Play. Welcome to the Furious Rajang. Because I wanted to show you guys like sort of what this guy does, just so for those of you who don't know Monster Hunter, you get an idea of like the lore and sort of what this guy does in terms of when you're fighting him and attacking him, and right what he does to attack you. Yada yada yada. So you'll see those clips. But taking a look at the box art here, you can see a very nice product shot here of Furious Rajang. Very nice text as well. Monsterarts. We got some more. Got the Monster Hunter 20th Anniversary logo right there. That looks really good. Actually, I'm trying to lower that. Yeah, well, like that. There's like a bar for my tripod, so I apologize for that. I couldn't lower it further. You got more Furious Rajang stuff right here on the back. On the side. More here on the side as well. And then you do have your obligatory product shot. Some very nice photos here. You can see those as well, and also a nice comparison here between Rathalos as well as Furious Rajang. And so, when it comes to the box art, Bandai usually always kills it, and so, without further ado, alrighty, folks, here we have the Monsterarts 20th Anniversary Monster Hunter Furious Rajang out of the box. And I gotta say, guys, this figure is pretty much near perfect. Now, I did do an oopsie, and we'll get into that oopsie when we get to the accessory section, and you'll find that out soon. But when it comes to this figure is nearly perfect. It's really well done in pretty much all aspects, and that's really something I can appreciate, because it's kind of a shame. And when it comes to Bandai, I think on the Godzilla releases, which in my opinion is sort of their primary IP that they own, and that they are like, when it comes to at least the Monsterarts line, they kind of drop the ball a little bit a few times more than I'd like them to, and so it's really nice to see them actually really succeed with another line here, and Monster Hunter is absolutely one of those where they're succeeding. And so when it comes to Furious Rajang here, despite the fact that I do think he is a near perfect figure, there are a few things that I do think could be done better, as well as I also think that they could have added. So taking a look at the details, like you can see, very nice face sculpt. I mean, that is gorgeous. It looks really, really good. Very menacing, very much Rajang. This is pretty much one-to-one pulled from the game. You can also see, it's kind of hard to see with my camera, his eyes there, you can see it a little bit there. The eyes are painted nicely red. He has some nice shading here right on the edge of his skin into his fur, and the fur is sort of like this semi-transparent plastic, because this version of Rajang, so for those of you who don't know, Rajang is a monster in Monster Hunter in the series, is a very strong monster despite him actually being one of the smallest large monsters. So when we're talking about Monster Hunter, quick little thing, you hunt, there's small monsters and large monsters. Large monsters are the ones that are, the sizes of houses and buildings generally, small sheds, stuff like that. And Rajang here is on the small side of the large monsters, like Rathalos. You guys probably know Rathalos at the very least, the big dragon that breathes fire with poison in its talons and a big tail as well, which was also released in the Monsterarts line previously a few years ago. Rajang sits at the top of the food chain. This guy's actually really, really strong. And so when it comes to Rajang, the regular version of Rajang does not have all this yellow on him. He's normally mainly just this brown color. Very much looks like Kong, if I had to say, because obviously, both are more or less based on monkeys and gorillas, right? And so when it comes to Rajang here, this is a version of Rajang where his tail has been cut off, and the lore basically states that when it comes to Furious Rajang, the tail for the regular Rajang is sort of its anger inhibitor, because this guy gets really pissed, like really, really angry. And so by cutting the tail off, you've effectively removed its anger inhibitor, and because of that, it's permanently angry all the time. And so that's where you get this glowy fur, because when it comes to Rajang, Rajang has this unique ability to conduct electricity, and we'll get into that when we get into the accessories section. I'll talk about something I think that they could have added that they didn't add. But when it comes to the details here, you can see the fur does look really, really nice here. I mean, I think it looks great. Sure, there could have been more shading in the brighter yellow bits, but I understand why they kept it like they did, but it still looks good. But the electric fur that you see here is all this transparent sort of, semi-transparent plastic. It's like, if I put my finger behind it, you can see my finger through it. But it's very blurry, right? It's sort of, like I said, very semi-transparent, but all around, I mean, I can't complain. I mean, even the claws look pretty good, like on his little feet in the back there. Again, the teeth here, the horns also are very nicely painted. Like, overall, when it comes to a detail standpoint, this guy looks absolutely fantastic, and I cannot deny that. And so, what we're going to do here, we're going to zoom out. Well, do I want to zoom out? Or, well, we can just push him to the back here just a little bit, and then we will do our comparison. So here is Rajang. And here he is with the Transformers Legacy United Deluxe Class Infernac Universe Magnius. And so when it comes to Magnius here, as you can see, he's about the size in terms of, at least on his fours, of almost a Deluxe Class Transformers figure. Just so you have an idea. So about 5 or 6 inches when he's just sitting here on his fours. Obviously, when he gets on his hind legs, then he gets much taller. But you get an idea here. Now, the next comparison will be something that is a reason I don't think this figure is perfect. It's nearly perfect. And so we'll get this guy out of the way. Alrighty, folks, and here he is with the SH Monsterarts Zinogre. Now, Zinogre is also a very well done figure in my opinion. I love this figure. But when it comes to Rajang here, I honestly think that when it comes to the monster art stuff, either they had to make the other monsters bigger or they had to make Rajang smaller. And so they decided to go with the Rajang being bigger. And I totally understand why. He gets some shelf presence and everything like that, right? For him being a bigger figure. But when it comes to Rajang, realistically, Rajang is like, if Zinogre is the size, right, is the general size, Rajang is like this big. Rajang is like just this torso, like a bit smaller. Like he's legit no tail, and he's just a little bit smaller than this whole torso middle part of Zinogre. Rajang is not a big monster. Like I told you, he's on the smaller end of in terms of the monster sizing charts. And so when you're looking at this comparison here, like, Rajang should be small enough to where he should be able to fit like this on top of Zinogre's back. Because in what we call turf wars, Monsters is very much about the idea of nature and its food chains, right, is one of the major themes. Rathalos, despite being an apex predator, literally gets ragdolled by Rajang. He literally grabs his tail. I'll see if I can, I don't think I have a video of it, but I'll link a video in the description if you guys want to take a look of that turf war. But you need to, yeah. There's a turf war, right? So you think, oh yeah, this guy's tiny. And then he does this. Yeah, and then ragdolls Rathalos. Rajang is not it's not a big monster. He's very small in comparison to everything else. And Zinogre is a bigger monster, very much bigger, and here they're about the same size. And that's why I think this is where they dropped the ball a bit, in my opinion, just a little bit. It's not that bad, even though I am a stickler for scale. I understand why they did it, and so I'm not necessarily mad about it, but it's certainly not accurate in terms of the size. But he does look good. That's the main thing here. He looks great. It's just the size here that throws me off, because he should be way smaller than this. Alrighty, folks, now it's time to get into the articulation, and they absolutely knocked it out of the park with this guy's articulation. I ain't gonna lie to you, this is something that genuinely surprised me. Of all figures to be super articulated, I knew that this guy should be decently articulated, but I didn't expect this level of articulation. So we'll start at the bottom, actually, here. The legs can go forward, they can go back, and they can go back pretty damn far. They have a rotation here at the upper part of the thigh. You can also bend at the knee, and then you have another ball joint here because of the way his legs are designed. And then you can also rotate here, and then the feet are also able to be posed very, very well. So you can see there's a very nice range of motion when it comes to this. And so it's easy for him to stand on all fours because of that, because of the way it's designed. In addition to that, the torso, this is where the articulation really surprised me. So for the articulation, it's so cool. So you do have like a ball joint here to handle. So you can do a twisties, right? You can do a bit of a twist. You can also go side to side. But what's cool is I'll try and show it to you guys. You can actually extend the ball joint in here, and then you can get an even deeper twist. So if you take a look here, my understanding is it's a ball joint that's attached to one end, and then that part is attached to like a pin system. You can see that, and then that has a swivel on it, and then that end is attached to another ball joint, which attaches the waist to the waist to the chest area, the upper torso area. And so you can extend and push this back, and it gives this guy a lot of leeway. And even here too, you can see it here in the legs. I didn't even show that. I forgot to. You have a little bit of extending joint here in the legs too. So there's a lot of range of motion. So not only can you get it like this far, but if you extend it even further, you can get an even deeper twist. And that is so, like, if you're looking here, like, look at the chest here, you can go like this. Like, that is really cool. And then you can even bend far forward. You can bend really far back. There's a lot of awesome articulation in this. In addition to that, the arms, they do a full 360. And there goes this horn. That's one of the issues I have, but it's not that bad. Arms can do a full 360. You have a rotation here at the upper part of the bicep. You can bend way more than 90. I mean, look at that. So here's straight. That is way more than 90, and then you have more rotation here on the forearm, and then the wrists are also ball joints. The head, you can go side to side, you can look down, you can look up, you can do a full 360 like this. It's really cool how much articulation this guy has. And it feels really good to finally get a figure like this because, I don't know, it just feels really nice for the Monsterarts line, in my opinion, to knock it out of the park when it comes to a figure like this in terms of the articulation. And so that is really, really, really cool. Alrighty, folks, and time to get into the accessories. And so when it comes to the accessories for this guy, they're actually pretty cool. So you come with the classic Rajang angry, screaming, yelling face, and this is really, really well done. Now, to change the head out, I'll show you guys how to do it because it's not hard. You just pull the head off, like that. And then this will more than likely fall off, but this is easy enough to put back on. So just set that off to the side, and all you have to do is remove the horns. And then you just put the head there, and then you can put the horns back on like this. And also, yeah, sorry, I didn't show that. The horns are also articulated. You have a little bit of a joint here, so you can actually bend these back. So that's pretty cool. Like, that's very, very neat how that is a thing. Like, I really like that. And even, I mean, you can see him here. Yeah, you can see it right there. You can hear it, and these can bend back, which is really, really cool. But yeah, and then all you have to do is take this, plug that in, or just sort of rest it on there, hold it in, and then you have the ball joint hole, and then you have the big ball joint right there, and then you just do your best to... Oh, there goes the horn, but it should be alright. That's not a big deal. Just gotta find it. There it is. Got it. And then, yeah, that's it with his new... this new head, and that's really good looking. Like, that looks really, really good. The other face you also get is a sleeping face. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Monster Hunter, the way that the hunts work is you hunt this monster, they're in an area, you fight them in this area for a bit, they get tired of you, and then they move to another area. You fight them in the area, they get tired of you again, they move to another area. Once the monster gets low on health, they will go back to whatever nest it is on the map that you're fighting them on, and they'll go to sleep. So this is his sleeping face, and it looks pretty good. I do wish they could have maybe done a different face other than this, even though I can't really necessarily think of another face, but it's cool that they added the sleeping face so you can have him sleep, which is pretty funny. And the way he sleeps like a person. You know, he's a gorilla, he's a monkey, right? So they often sleep like we do in terms of their sleeping positions. This guy literally sleeps when he sleeps. He's on the ground, like sprawled down, and he's got like one hand that's like scratching his belly type. So very cool there. He also comes with 3 other sets of hands, so you get like the half open fists like this. You can also use these as grabbing hands. So essentially in the game, Rajang will also grab you. He has this animation where he can grab you, and then he'll grab you and hold you like this, and then he'll breathe electricity on your face, and then he will jump up in the air, he will throw you down and slam you into the ground. So yeah, this can be used for that, or just other posing hands. Then you have the fully open hands, which are really, really cool. These look great as well. You can see the claws, very nicely done overall. And then finally you have these like thumbs up, like pointing fists. So those are pretty cool. You can substitute those out as well. Very easy enough, by the way. You can just swap those out like this, and this goes for all of his hands. You can just swap them out like that, and bam, now he has new hands. So really, really good stuff. Very easy to swap out all of his accessories. This guy is one of the easiest figures I've had in a while, at least, to be able to swap out like accessories like this, and that is really, really cool. Now, Moving this all off to the side, he does come with other accessories. So he does come with the stand here, and so when it comes to this stand, you have 3 adapters to it. So you have this one, and this is where my oopsie came in. I was messing around with it, and unfortunately, it snapped off, and the peg is stuck in there, and so I had to super glue it on. I'm not trying to show myself doing it, but like showing how to pose, but basically on his crotch right here, you do have the ability to use this to balance, and it balanced it very well. It's just I don't want to stress that after super gluing it earlier, so my apologies for that, but this does work very well. If you do it, please don't make the same mistake I did. Make sure that when you're trying to pose him on this, you're not rocking this back and forth like I was. Big mistake on my part. This is user error, very much user error, not Bandai error, my error. But the other adapter it comes with is this one. Now this is for his chest. So you can have him like sit on all fours, so you have to stuff it in there in his chest like this, and then you can just lay it down like this, and then he can sit on all fours. But as I showed you before, he can sit on all fours just fine, so this doesn't really matter. In my opinion, this is the most useless of the accessories, so very easy to remove that, though. You can just remove it like this, and then you can take this off like that, but just showing you that. And then you also come with this stand. Now this is for... So when Rajang gets really angry, he has this pose that he hits where it's essentially like, let me see if I can recreate it, and I'll have it in the photos as well. It's essentially him doing like a Super Saiyan power-up pose. And Rajang usually hits one of these poses when he gets really, really mad. And I think when you're comparing this to the actual game, this looks really, really good. I thought he was gonna... Oh, now he's pissed. Damn, I'm actually annoyed that I didn't... And I'm very, very happy that you're able to hit this with relative ease because the stand achieves its job pretty well. Now, it's not the easiest, but it's way less frustrating than other stands that I've handled with before. And so when it comes to this figure, the accessories, the paint, the articulation, the details, the accuracy in terms of the looks of this figure, really, really on point. It's just really that size that irks me, and there's a couple other things I do wish that they could have added that make this a little bit not as perfect as I would like it to be. Number one, Rajang has this attack that he's known for. Like I told you, he can conduct electricity. He can shoot a beam of electricity out of his mouth. We're okay though. Yep. I'm gonna hit the arm here. Having an effect part that instead of this stand would have been pretty cool. Other ones that could have been cool is not only does he shoot lightning breath out in like a giant yellow final flash Kamehameha, he also has like just little balls of electricity, like little electric projectiles that he shoots out as well. Okay, that hurts. Could have been those. Another thing is they could have added like electricity like clip-on effects, very similar to how they did the Monsterarts Space Godzilla re-release recently. And the last thing that they could have done is when Rajang goes into his other mode. So when he gets really angry, Rajangs always go into this mode called Rampage mode. And when they go into Rampage mode, their arms become really tough. They become as tough as steel. And so the way that the game indicates to you that it's in Rampage mode is that his arms glow red. They have this like very, very faint but still noticeable red glow in the brown parts of his arms, and you can very easily see it unless you know it inside and out. I was trying to roll there. He's gonna be mad. Now here, I don't know how they could have done it. They obviously would have had to give him a new pair of forearms and paint those completely differently, but would have been nice to see something like that, because with Tigrex, they kind of just painted red on there, like flat red, and it didn't really look all that great. And so for this, it could have been done in a different way. I wish they could have attempted that, but that probably would have driven up the cost of this guy already. But at the end of the day, when it comes to this figure, I think that it's very, very well done, regardless of like the lack of some of the accessories. I also think that the sizing is off, but at the end of the day, looks, details, I know I've repeated it, but it's just a really, really well done figure. And so guys, for my final and concluding thoughts on the SH Monsterarts Monster Hunter 20th Anniversary Furious Rajang, this guy's really, really well done. When it comes to the details and the paint, I think it's very well done. The transparent plastic looks really good to emulate the sort of electric fur that you see in the game. In addition to that, the details are really spot on. Next thing moving on from that is the articulation. And when it comes to the articulation, this guy is absolutely masterclass articulation. He has pretty much everything you would want from him. He can stand on his own relative relatively well, and the stands achieve the job of helping him stand up in the certain poses that you would want him to that he otherwise cannot do on his own. In addition to that, the accessories, getting into those, really, really nice. You do have the stands, which are cool, all the different stands for the different poses you want to throw them into. Extra hands are always nice, and the 2 extra faces that you get are also cool for display. However, when it comes to my cons with this figure, I do think that the sizing is off. He should be smaller, or the other monsters should be bigger. I don't know how you guys want to decide that, but I do think maybe that they should have made the other Monsterarts figures just a little bit, Monsterarts Monster Hunter figures just a little bit bigger, and they could have made this guy the same size while keeping him within scale. And that's a little bit of a shame, but he still looks good otherwise and has a nice shelf presence. And the last thing is adding an electric beam effect part or electric projectile effect parts, or even just electricity as like a clip-on effect would have been really cool to add to this guy. Just for extra accessories that I think they could have added. Or they could have done something interesting I didn't mention before, where they could have added like a hunter and the grab animation I was talking to you guys about. But yeah, all those things could have been added, but at the end of the day, as it stands, I have to give this figure a 9 out of 10. This guy's really well done overall, and I highly recommend for Monster Hunter fans to pick this guy up if you are a figure collector just like I am. And so, I did pick mine up on the Big Bad Toy Store. I'll leave a link in the description to that. Also leave links in the description, I believe, to Amazon. I hope I can find this guy on Amazon. If I can't, it'll just be Big Bad Toy Store, and maybe Entertainment Earth as well, but I'm not sure yet, so you'll end up seeing what links are down there. But if you want to pick yours up, definitely do that. I'm not sure if this guy will really hit stores, maybe your local hobby dealers, or maybe other places where kind of like maybe like an FYE style store, where they, have, a bunch of, like nerdy stuff. A box lunch would be another place I think that they might have this guy. So look for places like that if you decide to hunt this guy IRL, or if you happen to go to Japan or go into Japan, live in Japan, this guy's probably on store shelves at this point. So definitely take a look, and I definitely wish you the best of luck in hunting this guy IRL. And so, I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked in the description below. And with that, guys, and once again, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.